Hi again. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Alireza.
Good to have you.
Thank
Good
you,
to have you.
thank you, thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Today is our 17th day. Is this day 17?
Yeah.
Should be right. Okay. And Sarah is going to share with us the nuggets of the assertiveness guide for women. So women will definitely enjoy it. It's definitely useful for men as well. I'm
Of
also
course,
all
yeah,
ears here
yeah.
to hear everything from you.
Yeah.
Great, great. Okay, so let's get started. Do you want to introduce yourself once again to warm up, and then we go to the book?
Sure. Yeah, for
Perfect.
everyone who's here, and if they don't know me, I'm Sara Rahimi. I'm a relationship and communication coach, basically, and what I've been talking about in the past 4 weeks, basically here, is what I'm teaching, like in my courses and classes or online classes. And it's all about how to have a good relationship with ourselves, how to manage our thoughts and feelings, to be able to have a better relationship with other people. In one word, how to be more assertive. And we will learn today that assertiveness is not being aggressive, it's not being passive, it's again all the things that I thought about, I actually talked about before, about like giraffe, being a giraffe in 5 chairs and 5 choices, or with like Marshall Rosenberg's with nonviolent communication. So this is basically what I really focus on, relationships and communication, and have a better and healthier relationships with first ourselves and then other people, through communication. So because I really think that communication is the key for having a good relationship.
Amazing, amazing. Perfect. Okay, so I think you have some slides and you want to share with us your slides.
Sure.
Okay, let me make you the host here so that you have full access to that.
Okay.
Make host, and yes. Okay, you can share now.
Okay, perfect. So before I share my slides, it's first of all, I always want the audience, the listeners, to be active, so just feel free to like write all your comments or questions in the chat box and just be active. I want it to be interactive, actually. So the book that I'm going to actually talk about today is this one, Assertiveness Guide for Women. And again, as you mentioned, Alireza, it's not just for women, it's actually both for men and women. But it's what I like about this book, this actually, the author is Dr. Julie Hanks. And she has lots of actually YouTube videos. If you Google her, Julie Hanks, and it's awesome. She talks a lot about assertiveness, and she talks a lot about setting healthy boundaries. Because I really think that this is one of the issues that a lot of people have, setting boundaries, saying no, and how just to be assertive in their relationships. And yeah, so how to communicate your needs, set healthy boundaries, and transform your relationships. Before we start, and before I explain anything, I would love to ask the audience, what do you think about assertiveness? So what is your definition of assertiveness? When we say assertive or someone is assertive, what comes to your mind? Just type in the chat box. Assertive, assertiveness.
What is assertiveness to you?
What is, yeah, so what is it to you? When you hear the word assertiveness or assertive, what comes to your mind? Not giving up easily on what you want, beautiful. Hard on the problem, soft on the people, okay? Yeah. Hi, Ramakjan. Someone that is precise in their speech, good. Staying focused on what you want, okay? Very good. Persistent, okay? As well, you agree with all, great. So, because sometimes when we talk about assertiveness, A lot of people actually think of selfishness. Do you associate assertiveness with selfishness? Anybody? No, not you, Alireza. No, you know what? It's funny because when we talk about in my classes and stuff, when we talk about assertiveness, women always say that, oh, so if we are assertive, people think that we're selfish, or if we are assertive, people think that we're rude, you know?
Exactly.
So I don't think that the meaning, it's like people think of assertiveness in different ways. So it's important to kind of see what the exact definition of assertiveness is. Okay, so if you let me, I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. You see the screen?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So when we talk about assertiveness, assertiveness is the ability to make your needs and desires known, right? So a lot of times, like even in the like the first session and the second session, we talked about our feelings and our needs and what are our desires. And it's important as a person, as someone who's assertive, to make your needs and your desires known, right? Or the ability to say no. A lot of us cannot say no, and I explain more about this. And mean no, when you say no, you mean it, and follow through on the no, right? We see a lot of times, for example, let's say mothers, their children ask them something and they say no. Can I watch TV? No. Or can I do this? Can I eat this? No. And then after, I don't know, a few minutes or an hour, they just give up. Right? They say, oh, okay, fine, you can eat it or you can watch TV, right? So the ability to say no, mean no, and just follow through on the no. Or being able to present your point of view without being timid or aggressive. Again, if, I don't know, some people were here at the first or the second session, we were talking about nonviolent communication, or 5 chairs and 5 choices. We talked about hedgehog, and we talked about jackal, right? And we said jackal is always aggressive and hedgehog is always, you know, timid and try not to rock the boat. So assertiveness is something in between. Assertiveness is basically being the giraffe, right? So we want to be able to present our point of view without being timid or aggressive. Or being bold, confident, and one of the audience mentioned, stand up for yourself and others, and express your thoughts, ideas, and your needs. Let me just make this small so I can see. Where did it go? Sorry. Okay, let me just stop this. Yeah, so basically when we talk about assertiveness, we want to be able to share our thoughts and our opinions and our needs and stand up for ourselves and stand up for other people. What we see here these days in the world, a lot of people are standing up for other people. A lot of people are expressing their opinions. A lot of people are expressing their thoughts. And it's funny that this morning I shared something on Facebook, because I thought sometimes we don't feel confident enough to express some of our feelings, whereas somewhere else, like now everybody is, you know, posting in solidarity with George Floyd. So it is important to, in relationships and in general, to be able to present and to be able to speak your mind, basically, right? Okay, so sorry, let me just go back to sharing this with you. Oops, excuse me. I think I just lost this. Let me see where it is. So now, with the definitions that I basically read for you, what do you think about assertiveness now? Is this something that you had in mind? This is something that you pictured, or what? What is it? I'm just trying to find my slides. So Alireza, can you read the comments, please?
Sure. The last one is from Source. He says it's more clear now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a question that Azal asked. We can get to that question later if you want.
Okay. What is the question?
She says, what if people around you are not assertive and they don't understand the difference between being assertive and aggressive?
Okay, so what do you mean when they don't understand? I think it is important the way that we communicate with them. If it's aggressive, obviously, they can see that, you know, we're aggressive. But if we're assertive without being aggressive or without being timid, then they can tell the difference, right? So I'm not sure if I answered your question or not. Okay, so I'm going to share this again. They think you're not flexible. Okay, so I'm gonna explain. We think too much about other people's thoughts. Oh, what is he thinking about me? And that's the problem, right? And I'm gonna actually explain it here. So in one sentence, if we want to explain this, assertiveness is a willing and ability to express your feelings, your thoughts, your needs, and wants, even when they differ from those people around you. Again, it doesn't matter if Alireza's opinion is different from mine. I respect his opinion, but at the same time, I express mine. So it's very important to know that, okay, so I'm respecting your opinion. It's not that maybe I don't agree with what you're saying. I respect your opinion, but this is what I have to say, right? So the reason that, like, the cost of avoiding emotions and assertiveness, why we avoid being assertive, as you mentioned, maybe, sorry, the cost of avoiding it. So when we don't express ourselves, when we don't express our thoughts, when we don't express our feelings, emotions get trapped inside. Again, we bottle up all those emotions that we have, maybe sadness, disappointment, frustration, anger, what it is. So they get trapped. We blow up at someone else, at our kids, our partners, or maybe just on the street. I don't know, aggressive drivings and anything. Depression, when we do not express our needs. Like, I need appreciation, I need justice, I need peace, I need my freedom. So when you don't express your needs, when you don't express your frustration, when you don't express your anger in a proper way, when you don't speak your mind, you get depressed after a while, right? The other day, someone contacted me and she said, nothing makes me happy in life. I don't know what's wrong with me. And I asked her a few questions, and I realized she's in a relationship that she's not happy in. She's actually prioritizing everything in her life based on other people's needs and not her needs. And of course, after a while, you think, I'm not happy anymore, right? So this is the cost of avoiding your emotions. This is the cost of not being assertive in your life. Overeating, a lot of us do that, overeating. Instead of talking about our emotions and dealing with our emotions, we just overeat, right? Headaches, migraines, and eventually self-hate. You hate yourself for not being confident. You hate yourself for not speaking your mind. You hate yourself for letting people basically just step on you. I'm going to talk about this. So now, but what keeps you from being assertive? I think this is the one that you mentioned. People think that I'm not flexible, right? People think that, oh, I'm too selfish. Or or I hate conflict. I hate conflict and I try to avoid it, right? Or I don't want others to think that I'm controlling. Or I'm afraid to rock the boat, or I don't know, I'm afraid the person won't like me anymore. Seriously? Like, think about your life and think about your relationships. How many times you don't say no where you want to say no, but you don't say it because you're afraid that the other person might get hurt or won't like you anymore, right? So it's all because we're people pleasing. It's all because we want to make everybody happy. It's because we just hate not being liked, right? We want everybody loved. Oh, he loves me, he loves me, he loves me. Even if like 100 people around you like you and one person says something that, you know, that also that person doesn't like me, you get upset. Is it right? So we always want to make other people happy. We're people pleasers, right? So, and as long as we want to please other people and not ourselves, this is gonna what happen. We're gonna get depressed. We're gonna blow up at someone else. We're gonna get headaches. We're just gonna hate ourselves. We're gonna overeat, and we're just gonna end up being miserable if we continue doing this and not doing anything for ourselves. So my question from you is that, so think about the cost of avoiding your emotions and being assertive and what keeps you from being assertive. And share in the chat box with me and tell me, what is it that keeps you from being assertive? What is number one reason that keeps you from being assertive? They judge you, yeah. All the points mentioned, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like, because we want to keep everybody happy, right? People are not used to, this is a great point. Thank you. Thank you, Surush. Yeah, they're not used to it. People are not used to the way that we communicate with them. For so many years, if, for example, my sister calls me or my friends call me and they ask me for something and I say yes, if once I want to tell them no, then it's going to be like, what? She said no? Why? She's not flexible, right? And they start questioning me. They start judging me. They're not used to it. They're not used to change. They're not used to hearing no. They're not used to like hearing different opinions. They're not used to it, right? So these are all very good reasons. Okay, so now let me, let's go a little bit further. So the theme is fear behind every reason. All these reasons that hold us back from being assertive and confident is fear. Fear of damaging the relationship and the fear of disconnection, because we always want to have, or we want to keep and maintain our relationships with other people because we love our connections with other people. We don't want to lose them. We don't want to damage our relationships. We want people to like us, right? So the theme is fear. Be aware of that. Now, so if you look at this chart, you can see that. So what happens? So we have passive, people who disrespect themselves, right? And we have aggressive, people who disrespect other people. So what do we want here? What is assertiveness? What is assertive communication? Something in between. Means respecting both. I respect myself, I respect my opinion, and I respect yours and your opinion. So this is the middle way, assertive communication. Now, let's see. Well, Julie Hines in this book talks about like attachment styles, which like I kind of like it where she's talking about the 3 attachment styles, like anxious, avoidant, and secure. I don't want to go there because it's a little bit psychology, but I'm just going to explain a little bit after about these attachment styles. So basically, passive people, people who are passive in their communications and in their relationships, we mentioned, again, in 5 chairs, it's like the hedgehog. People who want to avoid any conflict, right? People who always want to be liked, and their attachment style in childhood or in adulthood now, it's anxious attachment style. It means that they are always worried to lose people. And that's why in their relationships, they're very clingy. They're very, they always want to get attention. They always want to make sure that the other person likes them, right? So aggressive people, or people who are disrespecting others, basically, they are the jackal one. They're the one who always want to attack. They want to blame others. They want to humiliate or bully other people, and they're always ready to attack, right? Disrespecting other people. Usually, these people have avoidant attachment style. Avoidant attachment style is the style that you try to distance yourself from any relationship because maybe you're too independent, right? You're afraid of getting close to other people. So we don't want to be passive. We don't want to be aggressive. The middle, again, is assertive communication. And the middle is people who are confident with secure attachment style. Means they form a relationship, but at the same time, they respect their own needs and they respect other people's needs. They're not clingy, they're not aggressive, right? So now let's talk more about these communication styles and see which ones you are. So the one that Julie Hanks talked about, and I really like this, is the doormat. The doormat, or the passive one, right? So when we talk about doormat, like what is doormat? What is doormat? So you don't want to disappoint anybody. And then what happens? You let other people just step on you. You let other people run you over, right? So the passive, or the doormat, as Julie Hanks mentions, they don't want to disappoint anybody. They easily get frustrated and have difficult time setting emotional boundaries. It's very difficult for them to set emotional boundaries. They sacrifice to make relationship works. How many of us do that? They make, oh, well, I'm, guilty of that. Well, I was. I would make anything to make a relationship work. Anything. You let others have it their way in order to avoid conflict. So again, the hidden payoff, you blame others for negative things in your life because they have the power. They have the power and have made decisions you didn't make. So it's very, very common. People who are aggressive, they blame other people for their own misery. They blame other people. They let other people do things to them. And then they say, oh, he did this to me, right? And they just don't take responsibility for their own actions. They don't speak up for themselves. They don't stand out to themselves. They don't make their own decisions in life, and they make other people guilty of that, right? Now, I want you to think about your relationships. Where in your relationships you are passive. And again, as I mentioned before in other sessions, you can be passive in one relationship, but not the other one. So see where you're passive. Let me look at the chat box. Especially if I change and they know me as a different person. Go back on the slide, yeah. social rejection in our brain triggers the same part for physical pain. Yes, I skipped that part. Yeah, exactly. So yes, I'm just gonna go back because they asked me for this. So yes, the pain, when I was talking about the disconnection and social triggers. So the pain of disconnection and social rejection, like when we get rejection by other people or whatever. So it activates the same part of the brain when you're triggered by physical pain. So that's why we don't want to damage our relationships. That's why we're afraid of disconnection. It's the same pain. So it makes sense that we do whatever to protect ourselves and our relationships, okay? So that's why then we become passive. That's why we, in our communication styles, we just let everybody, you know, they have their own way, and because they don't want to get into any conflicts. Good? Any questions so far? No?
Azal has a question.
Hold on a second. Okay. Sure.
Hi, Sarah June. Thank you so much. I'm not sure how the rest of the presentation will go. Maybe I get my answer later, but I'm thinking with this doormat piece, sometimes I think I'm sometimes assertive, sometimes I'm not, based on the situation. I don't even know if it's a good thing to be or not, but you have to have a character. You can't change yourself based on the situation. Mm-hmm. I don't even know, but sometimes I have to let go. Like I become a doormat to avoid future conflict, especially at work when like a hierarchy, someone else decides and you have no voice. Like you have to, even though it's not to your benefit and it's gonna make a mess in my side, I let go. But to be honest, I don't know if I'm doing this right, it's wrong to begin with, or I need help with that.
Of course, thank you so much, Azevedo. Sure. Okay, so when we say be assertive, I don't mean that you have to be assertive all the time, like everywhere, right? You need to be assertive to some certain level. Like, I mean, when you say, oh, okay, so if yeah, there are lots of times that I'm like, you know what, it's not worth it. Forget it. I'm not getting myself involved in this. I don't even want to express my opinion, okay? Because it's not worth it. You know, I don't want to just, you know, get myself involved in something that doesn't really matter, or it's just not worth it, okay? But there are lots of places, there are lots of situations, like even in our households, even in our close relationships, a lot of times we're supposed to be assertive and we just keep quiet. So when you become really frustrated with a lot of things in your relationships, when you have all these like the signs and you think that, oh my God, I'm frustrated, I think that I hate myself, like why I don't speak up, why I don't say something, why this is like why I, you know, make other people priority. When that frustration hits, it means that you're being too passive, right? So that's the time. So yes, again, it depends on the situation, it depends on, but in general, when we talk about assertiveness, we're talking about making sure that our feelings and our needs are being heard. But again, depends on the situation. If you let it just go for a very long time without your opinions and your thoughts and your needs being heard, then you're gonna end up in depression. And you don't want that. I think that we all know the line, kind of. You know in your head that I'm being assertive or I'm not. Where am I not really being assertive that I need to be more assertive, right? Sometimes, again, you don't feel that need. You're like, oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. But a lot of situations, yes, you need to be assertive. Did I answer your question? Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, perfect. So let me go to the next one, which is aggressive. So the sword, what do? You're tense, you get defensive, you're ready to fight. Have you seen those people that when you, like, it's just enough to make one comment, start fighting or getting so defensive, and they take lots of things personally, right? They're ready to fight. And it is important that people understand your point of view. If you're aggressive, it's important to, you want people to agree with you. You want to make sure that people agree with you, right? It's funny, like those people who, for example, you say, oh, this is my opinion, I disagree with you. They don't accept it. They make sure to send you lots of articles, lots of podcasts, or even they suggest or recommend books to make sure that you agree with their point of view. I'm not saying if they're wrong or right, it's just they cannot accept other people's point of view. So they always get defensive and they always want to make sure that people agree with them. So you may think that your self-worth is threatened and you aren't emotionally safe. So you pull out the sword to protect yourself from getting hurt again. Again, this is the jackal in 5 chairs that we talked about. You get defensive, you want to protect yourself because you've been hurt before. So you pull out the sword to protect yourself and show the other person that you're powerful. Show the other person that you have the power, right? So it's power on. And you may use humor or sarcasm, being passive aggressive. A lot of us do that a lot of times, you know, because we don't want to be aggressive and we don't want to be passive. So we make jokes and we say, oh, I didn't mean that. Or, you know, we're just being sarcastic, or say, oh, why you take it personally? I was just joking. You know, it was just this or it was just that. And so being passive aggressive or very like in a very sneaky way, we say whatever we want to say. So we're not really straightforward and speak our mind. Okay, any question here? If you've been again in the first 2 sessions that I was talking about, 5 chairs, 5 choices for nonviolent communication, again, it's all of this, you can go back and watch all those videos and stuff on YouTube, so you will get a better idea of, you know, passive and aggressive. Okay. Okay, so I don't see any question in the chat box. Let's go to the next one. So Julie Hanks basically in Marshall Rosenberg and Louis Evans, they call it a giraffe in animals. Here, Julie Hanks called them like someone who's assertive or be the lantern. Why? When you're upset, you can calm yourself down. So it means that you're not passive, you're not aggressive. You respect both people's opinions, yourself and the other person. So you rarely try to convince someone to agree with your point of view. Why? Because you know that people have different opinions. You know that people have different points of view about something, right? You can accept feedback, even when it's negative. A lot of times people are so happy to, you know, get positive and amazing feedbacks, wonderful feedback. And then when it comes to negative or constructive feedback, they hate it. They don't like it. They get defensive again. So if you're a lantern, if you're a giraffe, if you're assertive, basically, you accept feedback. You know there are many different perspectives on the same situation, and again, you respect all of that, and you're curious about another person's feelings, even if they're different from yours. Again, because you care about your feelings and your needs, and you care about other people's feelings and needs. So it's not just one way, it's a 2-way. straight. Okay, so any questions so far? I want to ask you, and again, share with me in the chat box. Where do you see yourself in your relationships with your loved ones, with people who are close to you? Are you more assertive? Are you more aggressive? Or are you more passive? Let's see. Nobody's okay. Both party be willing to be assertive. Takes two to tango. It does take two to tango. However, a lot of times when you are assertive, other people get the point. A lot of times, just pay attention to your relationships. When in an argument or when in a discussion, you want to be as aggressive, obviously the other person wants to be aggressive too, right? Or maybe you're aggressive and the other person becomes passive because they're afraid of you, they're intimidated by you, right? So, but when you are assertive, and we've talked about this a lot, when you are assertive, the other people cannot really get that much aggressive because you are not blaming them, you are not judging them, you are just talking about your own feelings and your own thoughts and your own emotions, right? But of course, if two people know that, way better, especially couples. If not, then change starts within you. You start a change and see what happens. Okay. I believe I'm more on the assertive side. That's good, Azad. That's very good. That's very good. Okay, so now let's move on and see what is it like to be assertive, right? What's like an assertive communication look like, right? So again, if you look at these two circles, again, so other people's needs, and your need. In between, there's assertiveness. So again, you don't want to be passive and you don't want to be aggressive. So we want to set healthy boundaries. And I'm saying healthy boundaries. So if you look at this, in order to move from doormat and sword to lantern and to become a more effective to become a more effective communicator and move toward assertiveness, you need to be able to learn to express your feelings, thoughts, needs, wants, desires, and express your words. You need to learn to set healthy boundaries. Okay, this is something that I teach in all my classes. And you're more than welcome if you want to join us in July. Just reach out to me and see, become more assertive and learn to set healthy boundaries. So healthy boundaries create healthy relationships. Believe me, we think that if we set boundaries, then it's going to ruin our relationship. No. A lot of relationships are ruined and damaged because we don't set healthy boundaries. Let me just give you an example. If you're that person who always says yes to other people's demands or requests, right? For example, your friend, oh, Sarah, can you do this for me? Yes. Oh, blah, blah, can you take care of my child? Yes. Oh, Sarah, can you just do that? So when you say yes, 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 for a long time, when you answer all those late night calls, when you answer, feel obliged to reply to all your friends or, I don't know, your boss's text messages. So after a while, when you say yes, 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 why you want to say no, again, after a while, you see that I don't want to answer my friend's phone call anymore. I don't want to talk to that person anymore. Why she doesn't respect my privacy? Why she's calling me so late? Why she's texting me all the time and want me to reply all like so in a very short time, right? Sorry, I just got distracted. So after a while, you hate that person. After a while, you don't want to answer that person anymore. So this is what damages a relationship, not healthy boundaries, okay? So healthy boundaries create healthy relationships. Setting boundaries take courage, of course, confidence, and assertiveness. It might be uncomfortable and even scary if you haven't done that much. It might be scary. And most of us struggle. We struggle with that. It's because we struggle with our low self-esteem and little self-worth. So when you know the reason, from now on, you try to set that healthy boundary. Okay. Now, before talking to anybody, let's say you want to talk to someone, you want to talk about your emotions, you want to talk about your feelings and what you need in a relationship or anything. So before starting a difficult conversation, you have to make sure that time is right. Keep it private. And this is something that I mentioned in sessions before. You want to keep it private. You don't want to go in front of your kids, or you don't want to go in front of your friends and make a scene. You don't want to teach your partner, or you don't want to talk about lots of things with your partner in front of your mother or in front of your in-laws, okay? Do not predict the outcome. A lot of times I hear that, oh, I know if I tell him, right, Alireza? Oh, I know if I tell him, he's gonna say this. You're already predicting the outcome. You already have that assumption in your mind. So then how do you think that you're gonna go and talk to that person, knowing that, oh, he's gonna say no, or he's gonna reject, or he's gonna, disagree with you, or whatever. So you already have that negative thought in your head. So don't be like that. So do not predict the outcome. Push the pause button if you need to. If you think that the argument or the discussion is, getting heated, you want to pause. You want to, I don't know, like take a break. You want to just maybe even postpone it for another day, for another time, right? Be open to what the other people is saying. Don't forget, as an assertive person, you should be able to listen to other people's point of view. You can't just say, oh, this is what I want and this is what I need, and then stop. No, you should be able to listen. You should be willing to listen to other people's point of view. But what is it? What do you have to say? What is it that you want to talk about? How do you feel about this situation? Right? What's important in a relationship for you? So listen to other people and be open, listen without any judgment. Like sometimes, a lot of times other person is talking and we are in our head, we're like, oh, okay, again, he started, he's saying this, he's gonna say that, We don't even listen to that person. It's not listening. You hear things, but you're not really actively listening with your heart, right? So try to acknowledge other person's feelings. If the other person is saying that I'm angry, or even if he's not saying that I'm angry and you feel that he's angry, just acknowledge his feelings. And let me tell you something, our feelings are valid. Our feelings are valid no matter what. If someone says I'm frustrated, if someone says I'm overwhelmed, if someone says I'm upset, don't say, oh, you shouldn't be. That's wrong. Our feelings are valid. Acknowledge other people's feelings. If someone says, oh, I'm frustrated, say, tell me more about it. What makes you feel so frustrated? Don't say, oh, you shouldn't feel frustrated because blah, 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 blah. Choose to hold the lantern. Don't get into drama. Light up the conversation. Light up the room. And choose to speak from the place of power and not the victim. not the power like the jackal power, but the power that you want to express your feelings and your emotions, not the victim. And again, repeat, I can handle it. When you think that when I express my feelings and my thoughts without thinking that, oh, I'm going to upset the other person is not going to die. Nobody's going to die from, a different point of view, right? So, and whatever happens, whatever the outcome of this conversation, I'm going to handle it, then it gives you more confidence. It gives you more confidence, like moving forward with your conversation, okay? And again, have that in mind that I don't want to attack this person. I don't want to judge this person. I want to resolve the problem between us. Good? Any questions so far? Let me see in the chat what's going on. A lot of people are not comfortable with assertiveness, and in order to clear things out with them, you need to have many hours of conversation, and this is not possible with everyone. It takes time. Of course, it takes time. It takes time because, again, we have not learned how to communicate with each other properly. We do not have communication skills. We don't grow up learning about communication skills. And communication is the key in any relationship. So it takes time, and that's why we have to invest in our relationships and learn to basically communicate with the other people. Okay, so what is the formula? The formula is so simple. We talked about this formula before, again, in the first session and the second session. So it's here again. What is assertive communication? Assertive communication does not judge other people. You only talk about yourself. You only talk about how you feel because what you think. You only talk about what you want. You don't blame the other person. You only talk about what happened. You don't interpret what the other person did. You don't say, oh, I feel upset because you don't love me. You're judging the other person. You can say, oh, I feel upset because when it was my birthday, you didn't buy me a gift, because that's a fact. That's what happened. That's a specific behavior. But you can't say, I feel upset because you don't love me. If you say, oh, I feel upset because you don't love me, it means you're judging that person. You're interpreting him not buying you a gift equals, oh, he doesn't love me. So that's your story. That's your interpretation. You don't need an interpretation. Assertive communication, you just talk about your feelings and your needs. So for example, you say, I feel upset, I feel frustrated, I feel angry, I feel restless, I feel emotional, right? When you just the act, when you do not answer your phone, when you say no to me when I ask you to, I don't know, buy something, when you are on your phone for 1 hour, when you, so what is it? The specific behavior, right? And then because I think, you talk about your thought. Again, your thought is not judgmental, because I think love is important in a relationship, because I think support is important in a relationship, because I value appreciation, I value support, I value intimacy in a relationship. So you, again, you talk about your own thoughts, you talk about your things that are important for you, you talk about your own values, you do not judge other person, and you do not interpret his action, okay? And then, okay, now what? Okay, you said something, now what do you want? So, assertive request. Would you be willing to ask what is it that you need? Would you be willing to put your phone down and listen to me for 5 minutes? It would mean a lot to me if you could listen to me for 5 minutes. Last time that you did that, I loved it. I felt really good. Do you think you can do that again? So positive questions, positive requests. Again, if the other person says no, you do not get defensive, you do not get aggressive. And then asking, okay, when is the best time, or why you say no? Again, check his feelings, check why, check in with him. Like, okay, why he's saying no, why he's rejecting, what is his opinion on this? Okay, so his feelings and his needs, right? And assertiveness in action. Again, if you can't do this for me, it's not that you want to threaten the other person, but it is important so the other person knows that if he doesn't accept your request, then what's going to happen? What is the consequence? Maybe the consequence, it's not always like, oh, if you can't do this for me, I will kill you or I will divorce you. If you can't do this to me, it can be just, I don't know, like our relationship is just gonna go down. If you can't do this for me, I will need to go and see a therapist. If you can do this for me, I will get your phone next time if you're talking to your kids and not let you play with that for 2 hours. I don't know, things that you know, right? And don't forget, it's important to follow through with the consequences. So don't say something that you cannot follow through with. Don't say something, for example, oh, if you can do this to me, then you know what, I'm just gonna divorce you. or oh, I'm just gonna quit my job. No, so just say things that you can actually follow through with, right? Again, no one likes the rules to change, no one. And they're not used to it, as Suresh mentioned, right? If there have been a few to no rules in the past, they are not used to any change. But you have to start making those changes. Again, it's in any assertive communication, it is very important to see how you feel, what are your needs, and what the other person, how the other person feels and what the other person needs. And try to resolve the problem instead of, just try to prove that, oh, you have the power, right? Okay, and then, yeah, let me see if you have any questions, and then we're talking about just saying no, but I guess it's okay. Any questions so far, guys? Let me see. Yes, exactly, Surusha. Yeah, so the formula is exact. That's why, like, what I teach in my classes is a combination of these 3 books and the techniques, because they're very, very similar. They're very similar. Louis Evans' 5 Chairs, 5 Choices, Julie Hank's Assertiveness Guide for Women, and Marshall Rosenberg's Nonviolent Communication. They're all saying the same thing, just with a little bit of difference. So yes, very similar to that one. Thank you for pointing it out. Any other questions? Okay, so then if nobody has a question, I'm just gonna quickly go over saying no, because I know how difficult it is for a lot of people to say no, right? Simple things like it's late, or you're just not in the mood to go to that party, and your friend calls you, oh, why didn't you come to the party? You can't even say no, and you hang up. You're like, I'm just not in that. I don't want to go there. I don't like the crowd there. You just say no. You just said yes, you're going. Then why can't you just say no? That's your boundary. That's the boundary setting. So by saying no, it's important to know why you should say no. By saying no, you keep your priorities straight and focus on what's important to you. Of course, if you don't have any other priorities in your life, of course, you can't say no to anybody. That's why it's important to have your priorities set every single day. You know what you're doing. I have a webinar today. I'm studying today. I'm I have a client today. I'm cleaning the house today. I'm writing something today. I'm doing yoga today. So what is your priority? So when you say no, it shows that you are focusing on your own priorities, not other people's priorities, okay? So you can't do or be everything that everyone wants. Babajan, you can't be everything to everyone. And when you say no, it shows that you're human and you have limitations. You can't. You can't. You know, you need your own time. You need your own, pay attention to your own needs and priorities. And saying no prevents you from being overwhelmed and overcommitted. So many times we say yes to so many things, and at the end of the day, we are frustrated, we are overwhelmed. So just be more kind to yourself, seriously. And again, for saying no, you don't have to be rude and say no. No, like you can say it in a very nice way. Depending on the situation, you say, you know what, that just doesn't work for me. Sorry. Or I can't give you the answer right now. Just check with me later on. You know, a lot of times, like you're like, I don't know if I should say yes or no, so I say yes. You know, no, just say, you know what, I'm not sure about this now. You know, I'll call you back later when I think about this. A lot of times we need to think and digest things. And or you can just simply say, I'm not able to commit to that right now. So simple. A lot of times my clients want to work with me, or like friends want to, you know, colleagues want to work with me. And I say, you know what, that's too much commitment for me right now. I can't commit to that. I really appreciate you asking me, but I can't do it. I understand you really need me. You really need my help. I'm just not able to say yes to that. No, I can't do that. But there, oh, this is very good actually. Sometimes you say, oh no, I can't do that, but this is what I can do for you. You know? So a lot of times we can actually come up with option B. Okay, this is not what I can do, but I can do something else for you. I'm going to say no for now, but I'll let you know if something changes, right? Okay, so the more you practice assertive communication, the more it becomes your second nature and doesn't require much effort, believe me. Believe me, like anything that I teach in my coaching practice, I have experienced myself. I don't talk about things that I haven't experienced. I don't. The more practice, the more you practice the lantern style or assertiveness, the easier and more natural it will become in your interactions. So it's your choice to see what you want to be. You want to be the lantern? You want to have assertive communications, or you just want to pull out the sword, or just be that hedgehog and just let everybody step on it. Okay. Alireza.
Great. Thank you so much. It was super comprehensive.
Yeah.
Lots of points. Well, this kind of topics are very interesting. And I think if we had couple of hours, it would have been so good, because we could have gone to the details of it with lots of other practical examples and everything. But definitely, I think to me, I believe it was super useful. And I was taking notes, a lot of notes.
Nice, yeah. Yeah, so again, these are the things that I teach in like a 6-week course, you know, in my
Exactly.
So it's like, but this is so compact.
But it was very useful and very practical. I think people have a very good idea about being assertive, being aggressive, or being passive. And we have to differentiate these. It's all about communication, what we want to say to people. Awesome. So do we have any final comment? Or
I see a question. Someone said, what was that? How nicely to say that I don't like hanging out with your crowd. Well, you know, I know, because a lot of times, like the people that are not actually your people, you get bored. You don't want to be there, you know, and you can just simply, and I like what the Surush mentioned. He said, ask yourself why. What did he say, Surush? Let me see. He said, where I can, Surush, I unmuted you. Tell me what you said.
I asked, well, they keep asking why. When they know that your answer is a no, they keep asking why, and then you really don't want to get into the conversation of
why.
You
know what?
Just no.
Actually, yeah, it's just no. I know. It's a very great point. Thank you for mentioning that. Yes, it's sometimes you, depending on the relationship, sometimes you feel kind of like, okay, it's okay. I want to explain to this person why. She's my best friend. She's this or whatever. So I want to explain to her why, because she's so confused and, you know, all question marks in her head. But sometimes you don't even have to. Like, if someone is not your best friend or your, you know, who you don't really care about, like, why should you say why? And this is something that I've been practicing myself a lot, because I noticed that in our culture, without even someone else asking us, we tend to say why.
Exactly.
For example, we feel so guilty about not going to a party, and then we just say, oh, you know why? And then we start bringing all these excuses, right? Like even something simple, you know? Oh, why didn't you? Oh, sorry. Oh, you called me. I didn't answer. I was doing this. We explain too much, you know? Like, okay, you called me. I didn't answer. Now I called you back. There's no explanation for that. Or hanging out with the crowd, like that crowd is not my crowd. Again, if the person is your best friend and she's gonna be like, oh my God, what the heck happened? Then you say, you know what? I don't really get that much energy from this crowd anymore, and I prefer to stay home and I want to do my own thing. I want to read a book. I want to whatever, you know, I want to relax. And you know, little by little, you have to start from somewhere, you know. I'm not saying that you have to kind of cut like that, but you have to start from somewhere.
Right, exactly. So we have to understand how to communicate with every different individual, because people are different, and the way we communicate with them are definitely different. And I like that comment of yours about explaining and justifying and everything. The problem is, once we do that, people want to solve our problems or help us solve the problem. So, and then they just bring us solutions. Oh, you can do this, or you can do that. And then at the end, you say to yourself, oh my God, why did I
even say
open
that?
My mouth, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Very true.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So guys, you can connect with Sara in Facebook, on Instagram. You can follow her. She will post a lot, and you have the opportunity to communicate with her. It's just there, sararahimi.ca, if you want to check out her website as well. All right, awesome. Thank you so much again, Sara. And
thank you, Alireza.
And we have 2 or 3 more days to go. You're very close to the end of this beautiful journey, and I hope everyone is enjoying. So guys, please be with us for the next 3 sessions, and hopefully we get best value out of these sessions. All right.
Thank you so much, Alireza. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Have a good day.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Bye.
Goodbye.